facts from the fight. Let's do this. So in one corner, you have Jake Paul, YouTube star turned boxer, kind of. Well, I mean, he only boxes people who are old and busted and or can't box, who've never boxed before. But whatever type of boxing or human being or man who would do that, that's what Jake Paul became. In the other corner, you have Mike Tyson, boxer turned prisoner, turned Zen master, turned actor, turned one-man show, turned mystery-solving cartoon character, turned weed and tiger enthusiast, turned whatever he is now. He had said that perhaps Satan would turn up in the ring while he's fighting Jake Paul. So perhaps turn vessel of Satan. I don't know. But before we get to the fight, people, we got to learn some stuff. Let's rewind, check out what happened before the main event, and figure out what we learned here, people. Let's start off with our first fact. We are all dopes. Thinking that this fight could be something. I went into this fight thinking that Mike Tyson had a 5% chance to win, and that's being generous because he's 30 years older than Jake Paul. But I still watched, believing, perhaps we'll see a murder in the ring. Perhaps, people, we'll see Mike Tyson, even if he loses the fight, murder Jake Paul. Perhaps the fight will be entertaining. Dope. We're all dopes. The whole event, like the first fight, was so boring. It was like if Beavis and Butthead decided to fight each other. It was that kind of bad. It was like, seriously, I'm not exaggerating at all. It was a horrible, horrible fight. It was just. This leads me to another fact, people. Fact number 2: boxing is boring in general. Now, this fight was particularly awful, but in general, there's too much running in boxing. There's too much hugging in boxing. It's bad. The second fight was a little better, but ultimately, early on in this whole event, I felt like I was being sucked into a black hole of boring. I think I would have preferred to be sucked into an actual black hole than watching this fight. The saving grace was the booty. There was a woman there with a perfect ass. And before you say, Praphit, why you guys sexualize her and whatnot, her job was to be sexualized. The women who you see in the ring, not the fighters. I'm talking about the women who hold the cards and such. They're just there to be sexualized. They're doing their job. And I'm saying that woman deserves a hand clap and a raise for the job that she did. Perfect booty. Not enough booty time. But there was booty time for Mike Tyson. He showed his booty as well. I'm not making that up. He showed his booty after kissing a man, telling him that he loves him. While getting interviewed, he walks away with his ass showing. I don't know why he was naked, but whatever, people. The next fight, the two women who fought, great. You had one woman who looked like she was like 21. She wasn't. I think she was 38, but she looked 21. She looked like the girl next door. And then you had another fighter who looked like she was in her, I don't know how old she was, but looked like she was in her 40s and she's just trying to feed her kids. And like her kids aren't going to eat if she doesn't win this fight. And she looked like that. Now, that was a great fight, which leads me to my next fact. The women always have to show up to show the men how to do it, right? So if you're around and it seems like nobody knows what they're doing, find the women. The women need to show up and they need to show the men how to do it. That's how it is because they boxed. They gave it their all in this match. Now, the white woman cheated. She headbutted Serrano twice headbutted her. There was blood everywhere pouring down. I thought they were going to stop the fight. I thought the dude was going to stop the fight. But I guess maybe she threatened him. Maybe she said, look, I'm trying to feed my kids. You stop this fight, I will kill you. I will cut you up into bits, and I will feed you to my children. I will do it. He's like, Serrano, you crazy, with the jokes. And she looked him dead in his eyes like, mother, do I look like I'm playing? And so she kept fighting, and unfortunately, she lost. Spoiler alert. Because the white woman cheated, which leads me to another fact. When you see those white women who look like the girl next door, be careful, because they're probably cheating. I'm not saying what it is. They're probably cheating. So we get to the main event, people, and it's terrible. Jake Paul is running away in the beginning of the fight. Too much running, like I said in boxing. Too much running, too much hugging. There's a lot of hugging in this fight as well. It's just bad. It's just bad. And then Mike Tyson, right off the bat, you saw his legs weren't quite there. His legs looked bad. His were really stiff. He couldn't really move. So maybe, he said that Satan might appear in the ring. Some people were thinking, well, maybe that's Satan in his legs. Maybe maybe we're going to get a good fight. Maybe just hold in there. Perhaps he'll get a good punch in. I was like, what's going on with his legs? What's going on with Mike Tyson's legs is age. It's age. It was a terrible fight, as we all should have known it was going to be. Like at one point, you have Mike Tyson and Jake Paul just kind of standing there in the ring, not doing anything. And you're wondering, is Netflix buffering again? Like, no, it's just two men standing there totally still, while they're making all this money. So like, it leads me back once again to the fact number one: we are dopes. We knew going into this fight it was going to be bad, but we convinced ourselves. I convinced myself. Like I actually only gave Mike Tyson a 1% chance to win the fight. But then when I heard him speak, I saw murder in his eyes, and I thought, well, maybe he could catch him or something like that. And I gave him a 5% chance. Still, dopes. So to sum it all up, people, my last fact is that fantasy is always going to be better than what goes on in reality. All right. Mike Tyson had a fantasy that he could still fight. No. We all had the fantasy that we were going to get a good fight. No. Jake Paul has this fantasy that he'll be accepted by the boxing community one day. No. And all the wives out there has this fantasy. They have a good husband that when they see tits and ass on the screen, and there's a lot of tits and ass on the screen, especially towards the end, a lot of boobage, that when they see their husband watching the TV screen, that they're not looking at the boobs, that they're just watching the fight, that they don't have one of these husbands that are just gawking, just slobbering over all the tits and ass on the screen, that their husband's not going to be like that. And no, your husband probably had his hand down his pants the whole time the boobs were on the screen. But that was a saving grace of the whole fight. Tits and ass. Tits and ass, people. I give this fight a grade. The marketing was A+, overall event C. Facts from the fight. Yes.